Hey guys, it's Josh here and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to attack a subject that's probably one of the most popular subjects in golf, which is the release of the club. Now I get asked this question a lot and there's a lot that goes into it and we're going to go over all of it today. We're going to try to do it quickly and we're going to try to do it simply. So let's start with the overview. What do the hands do in the release? Because when we're talking about release, we're talking about the hands. One, it rotates, so it opens and closes the face. Two, it does this closing opening action. I call this like a flipper on a pinball machine. It's like this, right? So we call that flexion extension. Three, there's cocking and uncocking, the club going up and down. And the release is a combination of all of those movements. Now, secondly, we're gonna talk about the role of the release. What is the release meant to do? Well, three things. One, it's gotta bring the club down to the ball, down to the ground. Number two, it's got to get this face squared into the ball. That's probably the most important and most difficult part of the release, which is why it's different than baseball, because baseball, the bat has no face. Number three is to create power. We usually have all this power and this angle accumulated and built up, and we got to learn to release it the right way to take advantage of it and create power. Now with that, we're going to talk about three main ways of releasing the club that I see every day. Two of them wrong, one of them right. Now, the first one is the high handicap scoop slice, right? So we'll call this a scoop release. And what that is when the handle is too far back, and that is your way of trying to get the club down. Now, why do people do that? That's the main question. Well, typically it's because their club face is really open on the way down, and the way they square it up is to actually try to get the club head to pass the hands. You can see as the club head passes the hands, it does close. However, it's still very lofted up, which isn't conducive to creating power. So they go up, that's open, then the logo of the glove stays pointing at this camera in front of me, never turns over until after they hit it. They start to do this downward uncocking motion. Remember this part of the release. They start doing that coming into the ball, and then the face is open, and now they have to square this up in a split second. And the way they do it is they throw their trail arm and wrist like that, and that is a scoop that you see. And even then at impact, their glove is still pointed at the camera, and the right hand almost comes off the club sometimes. You can definitely see that. So if you look at your videos and you see your right hand getting loose and your thumb starting to move like this, it's because your lead hand isn't working the right way. Before we get into that, let's talk about the second way. This is generally the better player's way of flipping, and that's the face flipping over and turning over like this, and it makes them hit big, massive hooks. This is one that I struggle with, and that is when the trail hand gets too active, it turns the face over, and then on top of that, they don't uncock the wrist enough, and they actually recock it too much, so the club head flips over too quickly, their forearms start to rub, and they start to get a little burn in the forearms. That is typically the cause of a hook. So now we're going to talk about the proper way to release. I know I sped through those first two. It's because once I talk about the right way to release it, I can explain why the other ways are erroneous and not very consistent. So the right way to release it is actually, once you have all of this angle, the main source of it, the main move, the main release valve is to take your lead hand, take the logo of your glove and point it at the target. That's all you need to do. You go up here and just take this logo and point at the target. See what happens? The club came down, the face stayed square, and now I have a forward handle and I'm gonna have a lot of compression. That's all I need to do in order to release this club down. See how easy that is? And you see when people, they're on the PGA Tour, they take a backswing and if something gets in the way, they get it out of the way like this. That is the most natural, easiest way, most proper way to release the club. So let's go back to that first example, the first wrong way to do it, where the scoop release, where the logo of the glove never turns over. And then they have to uncock the wrist like this, open face, cause the scoop. If you start to turn your wrist down, look at how much more square that is and gets rid of the scoop automatically. Now, secondly, we're gonna talk about the person who flips their hands over and hooks it. Now, this is close. You can see the face is doing the right thing and my left hand has turned down. But the problem is the source of the turning down came from my trail arm. If I take my lead arm and put it out, and take my trail arm, put it out, you could already see that my lead arm is pointed more towards the target, my trail arm is a little bit more under. That's very typical in golf. So with my lead arm, if I try to rotate my lead hand, this is all I've got. I really can't turn it very much. Whereas my trail hand, I could turn it down a lot. So you can see my range of motion is much more drastic in this internal direction versus this external direction. And so we want to use that to our advantage. It's kind of like if you're trying to go on a diet and you go to a buffet, you're going to be in trouble. That's the right hand. The right hand is the buffet. If you order a small plate, you go to Denny's or something, there's a small plate, then you have very small options and you don't have too much, which is great because you can finish the whole plate and still lose weight. That's your lead arm. Your lead arm turns down and this is all you've got. So you can try to turn this down as much as possible and you don't have to worry about the face flipping over too much. Now, the second key to this is what does the trail hand do? So now, the source of it all is this lead hand turning down. The trail hand, it has to stay nice and bent as your lead hand turns over. There's a drill that Ludwig Aubert has made really popular as of late, which is to hit balls with an open palm. If you hit balls with an open palm, what that allows you to do is actually to take your right arm out of it. And then you're just using your lead hand to turn it over. And the best way to just learn this is to just hit a couple and get to this position in the follow through when the club is parallel to the ground. I want your lead hand pointed behind you, the club head outside your hands, and the club head below your hands, right there. Right? So it gets about waist high. The club head stays outside your hands, the lead hand is turned behind you in this way. And then from there, when you put your right hand on it, it'll be nice and bent. That is the proper way to release it. If you can release it like that, you'll be way more consistent. You'll compress the ball much better if you're a scooper. You'll stop hooking it if you're a flipper, and you'll start hitting shots long and straight. And that is the release. If you learn to just take the logo of your glove and turn it down, it'll take care of all of those three things that we're trying to do. Square the face, get the club down to the ground, and to create power. It is all in that lead arm and lead hand. Hopefully, that has simplified a very complex subject, which is the release. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, please comment, please subscribe. Please let me know in the comments what you want to see me cover. I'm on this mission to try and cover every single subject that people bring up, whether it's long form or short form. And so please let me know what you want to see, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.